I suppose mixed results for England. Losing 4-1 in India, that was that was a tough tour. But we had that magnificent highlight in Hyderabad, which we were there for. Beating the West Indies 3-0 was entirely expected. You said that you thought would win 6-0, 6-love in the English summer, and frankly they should have done. I don't know what was going on at the Oval in the last Test match against Sri Lanka. Losing in Pakistan, that was interesting, wasn't it? Again, after winning the first Test with scoring 800. And then we're here in New Zealand finishing off. They've lost the last Test match, having won the series, and that's not to be underestimated. The very, very good New Zealand team, which didn't perform at its best. So, did England make them perform badly, or was it just an emotional and physical hangover from India? That's what we're going to talk about for the next 10 minutes or so. Should we start with India?
Yeah, I thought India was... it got off to a great start, didn't it? That 100 by Ollie Pope was fantastic. It was brilliant. It was a fantastic start, and I think in that series it was like what could have been. I think a little bit. England lost 4-1, but during the fourth Test match, at times I'm thinking this is going to be 2-2. We're going to go on Dharmshala, and England could go 2-2, and then you just don't know. But then once it went to 3-1, I think it was inevitable. It went to 4-1. I think things that hurt England during the sort of two winters is when you played on a massively spin-friendly conditions.
Yeah.
I think that's something that further down the line, that hopefully the team will play better on, because a flat pitch in Hyderabad, then it spun. Take nothing away. Ollie's 100 was brilliant. I don't think it turned as much as it did in the rest of the trip. And then once the rest of the trip started turning more, England looked as though they didn't really have a plan B against spin. And then the same when Pakistan decided that we weren't going to play on a flat one, we're going to play on two spinning ones. And then England got found wanting again. But I actually think it's been a decent year for English cricket, and in the red ball format. We've had some disappointments. We've had some bad luck. We lost the captain for quite some time, and that's big in this group. I think he's massive in this group, not just because of the bowling and the batting. I think because of his leadership. And again, I'm not knocking Ollie, because Ollie did a great job. But when you lose Ben as the leader, I think it has a knock-on effect and ramifications for the likes. I think just one person especially. I think Shoaib Bashir, when Ben's captain, I think there's a little bit of a difference in him. I think Ben gives him so much love and attention and belief, and I think just so little things didn't go our way at times in that red ball, but we've unearthed some fine young players. Bryden Carson on this trip, Gus Atkinson's been a revelation since he walked through the group. Who knows where Jacob Bethel can end up as a ceiling level. So I think all in all, yes, we might have had some indifferent results, but I think the bigger picture going forward, I actually think England haven't had a bad Red Bull 2024.
Okay, we'll talk about the individuals in just a moment, but a word about that home summer. And you see, when they lost that third Test match against Sri Lanka, having won the series, and to complete your 6-love clean sweep that you predicted, that was the start of what we have come to refer to as a kind of soft underbelly of the England Test team. And you called for ruthlessness. You said that they needed to win here and win 3-0. And when they went 2-0 up, you said it's really important that they win the third Test match, and they didn't. And I wonder if there is a concern. When England are strong, they are very strong. When they get on top, they're ruthless. But they're a bit brittle as well. I mean, when things go, like when they lost in Dharamshala, as you mentioned, that was also 423 runs, and they lost by 423 here. I mean, when they lose, they lose big, and when they win big.
Yeah, and I think that's just the nature of this side and the mentality and the way they play. I think they'll get. Hopefully, I think they'll get better. I hope they get better and them situations and identifying them situations when the time is to just take the foot off the gas a little bit, respect what's happening in the game, i.e. the opposition bowler bowling well, and then go back to plan A. It just seems at times there's no plan B. The plan B to sort of hang in there, earn the right to then go back to plan A. I think that's something I think that this team is probably lacking, and I think it's something they're going to have to have against India and against Australia, because they aren't going to have it their own way. They played the West Indies and beat them 3-0 because, largely down to the fact that West Indies weren't very good. I think give credit to Sri Lanka. I think Sri Lanka were better than what we give them credit for. I think Sri Lanka had some really, really good, strong fighting qualities, especially in some trying conditions when it was, a little bit cold, a little bit rainy. I thought Sri Lanka fought well. The softness, the soft underbelly that you talk about, and that this team's been labelled at, I think they had that against Sri Lanka. I don't think they had that here. I thought they were beaten here. I thought New Zealand beat England here. I didn't think England laid down. I didn't think England were below par. I actually think that spell in the middle of the afternoon by Will O'Rourke blew the game up, and then all of a sudden, New Zealand never let England back in. So I think, yes, there was some kamikaze stuff during the Sri Lanka when we got beat, but I don't think the soft underbelly was here. I thought here New Zealand beat England. So I come away from that as having said we should be winning 3-0. We should be ruthless, and we've got to be more consistent if we're going to go and beat India and Australia. There are times where sometimes you go, right, the opposition just played better than we did, and I thought they did that on this occasion.
Right, let's have a look at the individuals then. The leading run scorers, let's start with the batsmen. 3 past 1,000 runs. Ollie Pope was just 6 runs short, 994 runs. Zach Crawley makes the top 5. He's the 5th highest scorer for England in Test matches, with 695 runs at an average of 27. I don't know whether you've got anything new you can say about Zach Crawley, and whether he's under pressure or whether he isn't, or whether it's self-imposed pressure, maybe, because it doesn't seem to be coming from the coach or the captain. But Joe Root, way out in front, over 1,500 runs at an average of almost 56. Harry Brook, 1,100 runs at 55 with 400s. Joe, of course, 600s in the year. And Ben Duckett in between them with 1,200 runs at 37, 200s and 550s. Ollie Pope, 994 runs at 33. It's a heck of a disparity between the top 3 and the next 2 on the list.
Yeah, it is. And Ollie got he got them in sort of big innings, didn't he? He got them in big, he got a big 100 in, like we said, we talked about at Hyderabad. Like I said before, I think England, this Red Ball 2024, have done well. Joe's, streets ahead of anybody in the world at the minute for me. Harry's played some unbelievable innings, but the consistency level of Joe Root is just breathtaking. It's mind-boggling how good he is every time he goes out to bat. The Zach one, no, I've got nothing more to come with what I've said before. While Ben and Brendan are captain and coach, I think Zach Crawley will open the batting. I think he might be under him and Ollie Pope are probably the ones that maybe he's under pressure with what they do with Jacob Bethel, and I think that's a story for down the line. I think Bethel's going to go and play white ball in India. He's going to play, possibly go Champions Trophy, and then there's a lot of white ball cricket throughout the summer. So there is cricket there. It's not as though it's like Shoaib Bashir. If we leave him out, he ain't playing any cricket because he can't get a game for Somerset. He's going to get some cricket. I think just on the eye he looked special. Same as Bryden Cast, the 2 that came into this series. And I think from Zach's point of view, Zach hasn't had a bad. He hasn't had a bad yet. That combination at the top works brilliantly. I mean, one tall guy, one short guy, one left hand, one right hand. Zach comes all the way out, and you have to like bring your length right back. And if you bowl that length to Ben Duckett, you get smashed. He rotates strike very, very well. So from an opening partnership point of view, I mean, it's a proper match. It is a proper match. During my time playing against Aiden and Langer, yes, there were two left-handers, but boy, that the margin for error on length was so small that you had to get it right. If not, I mean, you just couldn't stop the runs from coming. So I think that combination will stay for the foreseeable future. Whether Zach's under real pressure, I'm not so sure. It's brilliant to see three lads get 1,000 runs in a calendar year. I mean, that's a special achievement in itself. And I know he's just sitting over there, but I love watching Ben Duckett bat. I really do. I just think he's been brilliant since the minute he walked back into the England team. I've said it before. It's probably been one of the luckier ones that you have come in as such a young player. You've had a go, and then some people don't get another go. And I think, and I'd love to know. I'll ask him in a minute. I'd love to know that that's what drives him, makes him be the player he is, because he had the chance in the first. It didn't work out. He's come back. He's gone away, made himself a better player, and he's now the player which I think a lot of bowling attacks fear. First up with a brand new ball, and I think when you've had that experience, I think it makes you cherish what you've got when the second time comes around. So, like I said before, we are very, very good in England at picking players at 21 and then dropping them at 23, and they're the best player version of themselves at between 24 and 27. And I mean, Harry's on his way to, I think, something special. Joe's
greatness, you were going to say?
Yeah, I think he is on his way to some greatness. I think level of consistency like Joe, and all of a sudden, I think we'd have a very, very good number 2, number 4, and number 5. Jamie Smith has to come back in, number 6 and number 7, and I think let Zach play the way he plays, and fingers crossed in the big games. And that's the thing, the big games. If you get the big games and he gets on a roll, he's very, very form sort of heavy. If he gets on a roll, 70 or 80 in the first innings of the first Test match, all of a sudden he has a big summer. That could propel England, for me, winning against India, and more importantly going to Australia and winning. Because I think it's going to suit the England batting 7, the 1-7 playing in Australia, probably more than playing at home.